another thing that I meant to talk about tonight is a little bit about the experience of love versus like a love with a lot of attachment. And when we just define love, I know this sounds very academic maybe when I say defines and definitions and all this, but really, it is good to be kind of precise in terminology and to refine concepts and develop those attitudes. That love is the wish for others, or an other. It doesn't have to be plural. Like to have happiness and the causes of happiness, just really purely wish for them. And when that becomes attachment, then there is a lot of me in that. What do I get from that? Are they reciprocating? Is there a reward for me if I keep doing this? And if I don't, then what? And a lot of hope and fear, and it becomes a situation where there's this entanglement, and that's the attachment, the stickiness, and so one can still have that, and it's not wrong. We all have that for sure, because we're not enlightened beings, and it's a matter of trying to maybe refine that in terms of like, how can we love others in a way that's not putting chains on them, that's not restricting them. And it's also like, that's a fine line in terms of like communication in a relationship. Like, how do we have healthy communication? How do we have healthy boundaries in like what we do and don't do in terms of our conduct, in terms of our ways of relating to other people, all of those things. But I guess my main point is that there is attachment in our relationships. I don't think it's helpful to label it as bad. But there is, and I think it's good to know that there is a love that we can aspire towards and that we can work towards, which is less sticky and less restricting of the other, less paranoia inducing to ourselves. When we're in this experience of expectation, like, I love you, I hope you still love me, that's a fear, paranoia, hope, expectation, that also can end up becoming a lot of projection on others and expectation on others that can feel like bondage or chains, or like, not allowing the other to be fully who they are. And I'm not meaning to go into a full-blown discussion of love and relationships right now, and I'm also not, I have not perfected that in my own life. I don't claim to have. But I think it's an important thing, and one of my main points in bringing it up is don't ignore it. Don't pretend like the dharma is something you do out there, and then ignore your own experience of your emotions and your ways of, interacting with real life, So it becomes a tendency sometimes, even in Buddhist circles, we talk about this idea of enlightenment of all beings, benefiting all beings, and we aren't treating the people right next to us with loving kindness and compassion. It becomes an abstraction. All beings, like this abstract thing that's out there in space somewhere. But like, what about the person right in front of you? They're part of this all beings that you're supposedly trying to develop this attitude for, So my main point in bringing that up, and I feel like I have been a little bit scattered about this conversation, but my was just to not ignore your own experience of attachment, and see how that affects your life and your relationships. See what you could maybe do to work on that, and on the more ultimate level, what is going to refine, all of the things we've talked about right now are very provisional. Provisional in the sense that we're only working with like the very conventional nature of things, and conventional nature of objects of our desire, conventional nature of our mind's experience of desire and objects, and conventional methods for shifting our way of seeing them, or our priorities in terms of like, what we're striving towards. And the kind of ultimate way, in terms of the way of fully uprooting attachment, is only through the teachings of selflessness and emptiness in all their various forms. And that can come across through the more basic teachings of Vipassana, further into different levels of tantric teachings, into the meditations on the nature of mind and the Dzogchen and Mahamudra traditions. All of those kind of things are going to not just have you kind of shift your priorities, but actually transform the actual way that you even see or experience an object, or the way that you experience your mind when in relationship with an object or another person. Recontextualize the entire experience of emotion for yourself, connection with others, all of that.